Frank Klose, 97.3 ESPN.com, covers the Phillies. He'll give us a little insight on what they could need and what they could be looking for as he joins us now, the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Frank, what's up, man?
Not much. How are you guys?
All right, trade deadline day. We're doing well. We're keeping an eye on this. John Heyman reported just a little while ago they're calling on bullpen arms. What is number one priority if they make a move?
Well, I think you still want some more for your bullpen. Even though they've added the three arms, you kind of see the up and down of Hector Neris, although he had a good week. You don't know where Jose Alvarez is in coming back because if you might just say, okay, well, he got hit in the groin. Well, if you actually look up some of the effects of such an injury, like it could knock him out for a while. So you might be short in the left-handed side of things, and even with Ranger Suarez potentially coming back within a day or two, even you don't know what you're going to get out of him yet because you don't know how badly his strength was affected. So you still want some relief. And I also really thought they could really use a starter. I mean, they still have 4 doubleheaders to go. Vince Velasquez, of course, wasn't tremendous. And, of course, Jake Arrieta had a really great start, and then he had last night. And then you have Spencer Howard still young. So some help for those doubleheaders would be nice. Although I don't know that they're pursuing all of those things. It just sounds like you just mentioned from John Heyman. You also saw Jim Salisbury report Phillies checking in on some back-end relievers, and Jason Stark of The Athletic also recently said people expect the Phillies to get a deal done, but it sounds like it's more relief than starting.
If they got something, would you prefer it to be a bullpen arm or a starting arm? I know last night after Arrieta's rough outing, everyone's like, all right, you need to get another starter. My question would be, they're not going to pull Arrieta out of the rotation. Who would get pulled from the rotation if they were to get another starter? Is the starter more of a necessity than the bullpen?
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, those doubleheaders could be menacing. The Phillies have not fared well in doubleheaders so far this year. And the fact that they have so many, and I mean, there's even some rain in the Philadelphia area right now. So, I mean, you're looking at tonight getting affected possibly. Although they got through the weekend, luckily, even with the hurricane remnants. I would say kind of equal at this point. In terms of like who would leave the rotation, you're almost at that point where you're playing frequent doubleheaders. It might be a situation where maybe you just tell Spencer Howard, we're going to bump you back a few days here or there, because he is the rookie, and you insert the extra person where you can, but they're going to need something. I mean, with the schedule, I mean, it's next week is that magical week where they have 3 doubleheaders in 6 days that begins on the second week of September. So this is the first week of September, except for starting tomorrow. So next Tuesday they play 2. They play 2 next Friday. They play 2 the Sunday after that. So, and then the following Friday, another one, and then again, thanks to the postponement, there's the other day. There's an extra one now against the Nationals on the 22nd. So you're basically talking. You need 6 starters from here on out, and do you really want that to be Vince Velasquez?
What type of players have value when it comes to trades? Do you sense that the Phillies are going to try and make a move with Mickey Moniak or maybe even Adam Hazley, or do you think it's going to be more of like the Seabolds of the world?
It's really hard to say. Now, the rules say that you have to be in the 60-player pool to be traded, and it was significant that Mickey Moniak was added just yesterday to the 60-player pool. So you got to wonder if Moniak is either in the deal himself or maybe, as you said, Adam Hazley is the type of player that ends up being shipped out in a trade, and they need somebody to replace him on the depth chart. So this trade deadline is unlike any others. Because, I just looked through the standings, and you got the Kansas City Royals, you have the Baltimore Orioles, you have the Boston Red Sox, you have the Seattle Mariners, maybe the Arizona Diamondbacks have been busy trading pieces. There's not a lot of teams that you can look at the standings and essentially say they're out of it. Now, you might realize that some really don't have a chance. But I'm sorry, Texas is another one that's trading off pieces. But even the Detroit Tigers, they're 16-16. Normally you'd say, all right, well, they're not good enough. But you know what? 16-16 right now could lead to a playoff berth. So it's such a weird year. And the other dynamic is, what do you actually want to give up? I mean, if you're a team that thinks that you're in it, there's a lot of teams making the playoffs this year. You could get knocked out in one of a billion rounds, it seems like. Do you really want to go for broke now, which could affect you more down the future? And even now, too, making trades, if you can't trade out of the pool, are you going to say you're going to trade a player to be named, and then that could be somebody outside of your pool when you name them at the end of the season? It's very, very complicated. Teams can't go to the minor league games and scout these players, so it's a tricky time, and this is very unpredictable.
Frank Klose, Phillies at the deadline here coming up at the top of the hour. Jason Stark, as you mentioned, said they're trying to add depth without giving much like they did last year with Jason Vargas, Corey Dickerson. Broads asked you about guys. Are there guys on the roster, Kingery, Hastley, Quinn, which is the most attractive piece that the Phillies do have?
I could see. I guess the question, too, is who's expendable. I mean, this offense has been pretty good. So you don't necessarily want to break it up. I mean, I think Roman Quinn has been way too valuable to move as of late. I mean, his speed has literally made the difference in some games. So the guys you have, I mean, Adam Hastley is somebody that might have some value to somebody. He's a former first-round pick with a lot of talent, and he's kind of stuck behind Quinn at the moment. But other than that, the Gene Segura's of the world are paid too much money, and I don't think you want to give up on Kingery while he's down, because if he does get it together as you thought he would, then you're trading him low. I don't know if selling low is a good idea on somebody like Scott Kingery, especially since at the very least he can help you out at a bunch of different positions. So I don't know about off their roster they would really want to trade anybody. I think they're looking to add, and really would have to be probably an Adam Hastley type piece. I can't really see them trading almost anybody else off this roster.
I guess it's fair to say JT Realmuto might be safe. I know that there was some, speculation. Hey, maybe they get rid of him at the deadline to get something in return if they're going to let him walk, especially after seeing Sixto Sanchez pitch again, 10 more strikeouts. I guess it's fair to say he's probably safe for the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies are only 3 games behind in the division, and last night, I mean, unfortunately, they didn't totally come up with the victory, but the fact that they battled back the way they did to score 10 runs of their own after giving up a 10-run inning, I mean, that shows that the offense is firing, and that the Phillies pitching, even with the holes they have, is not going to give up 12 runs every single day. So when you look at the greater picture, you do think the Phillies have a real chance, and because they have a real chance, you're gonna put JT Realmuto to work for you, and not try to get prospects right now, which again, it's a tricky time to trade. You might not get a lot, so I think you just try to win with somebody like him.
Frank, obviously, this whole thing is down the stretch already. I mean, are you surprised at how much action there has been? Starling Marte, Marlins buying and selling. Jonathan Villar, they traded away. The Tigers look like they're going. The Padres are obviously going for it. There's a lot of teams that came into this year with very minimal expectations that seem to be making moves. But are you surprised that there's so much action going on?
I think the reason you're seeing a lot of it is the prices are pretty good. I think people realize that the amount that you're going to trade for a month of a player, especially the ones with expiring contracts, it's not going to be a lot. And I think because you're not actually wading into the waters of trading top prospects, which might be further down in the system, because let's say a team has a really top prospect. He's probably at Double-A this year in normal circumstances, but isn't on the major league roster. You're not even discussing players like that. A lot of times, when you have good pieces to move, the discussions begin with those types of players. They're not even getting along those lines, or just kind of looking at who's in the player pool and available. And teams are more likely to get things done because they want to get something done. And so I think the fact that they realize if they don't trade their free agents to be now, they won't get anything at all. So they might as well take a shot on somebody. So definitely not some blue chip trades like you'd see in other seasons, but definitely a lot of more minor trades.
All right, Frank, if something happens, we'll have to bring you back and see how that all works out. Do we have something that has happened? Josh is raising his hands. I don't. All right, the Phillies have made a trade. The Phillies are getting Dave. Yep, Dave Phelps from the Brewers. So he's a guy I think that was a Yankee, right? He worked with Girardi?
I think you're thinking of a different. Oh, David Phelps. Is it David Phelps? I'm sorry.
David Phelps, the reliever.
Yes. He is somebody that you already knew. Really serious. I'm going to try to. I actually had the Brewers page up because that was a team that the Phillies were said to be talking about. Now he is a little older. Okay, so he's going to turn 34 in October. So this year he's having a decent year. 2-3, 2.77 ERA, in 13 innings pitched, and. It seems like a pretty reliable arm, and he's somebody that probably could help this. I mean, let's face it, who can't help the Phillies bullpen at this point. But definitely a good sign that they're still adding rather than just saying, well, we got 3 guys, and so we must be okay.
All right. Well, we'll let you get working on that piece. By the way, ironically, they signed Phelps and replaced Guerra, who stunk on the Brewers too.
How about that? Yeah. Hey, Guerra barely pitched for the Brewers, so I forgot about him.
Yep. So, all right. Well, Phillies get a bullpen arm, David Phelps, and Frank Klose. We'll let you get on that for the website, 973ESPN.com. He'll have reaction over there. And if anything else happens, Frank, we'll tap back into you.
All right. Sounds good, guys.
All right. Frank Klose, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. There we go. A live trade on the air.